Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk to a group of people who are concerned with signing contracts, especially those who have the desire to move to the USA as nurses. So, because I've gotten a few questions, some people asking how, what do I check for before I sign that contract? Is there anything I need to check for? Which is a very good question that I never asked myself during the time I was doing signing of the contract. So I also want to include some people are in between. They want to move over either using an agent or an agency, or you know direct hire. Like there are hospitals which are hiring nurses who are overseas. So they are the nurses, the particular nurses are like at crossroads. Do I go with an agency or do I get a direct hire hospital? So this video will be able to give you more information so that you make a decision, you make an informed decision, because people make decisions based on what they know. So if that's you, or someone who's going to benefit from that information, then this video is for you. Watch till the end. So honestly, I never asked myself these questions at the time I was signing the contract, but I think it's a good idea to have information so that when things are happening the way they're happening, you are able to know that, what, I knew this, so nothing comes as a surprise. So I would say things I wish I knew before signing a contract. So the first one, I had to write them down so that I can remember. The first one that I think you need to know is the basics. Let's start with the shift. Which shift are you willing or are you comfortable working in? I understand there are people who are comfortable working night shift. They have no problem with that. They prefer to work nights. And I understand there are people who would be comfortable doing day shifts. There's no problem with that. But in Kenya, particularly in the hospitals that I worked in, we were doing both days and nights. Like you do like 2 days on days and then 2 nights off, and then you come back 2 nights. What am I saying? 2 days, 2 nights, two offs, or 2 days. The arrangement. Like you are doing both shifts. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. But when you come here to the US, there's some factors to consider, especially if you have children, school-going children or young children who will need to be catered for. Because as you realize, it will be a challenge to get a caretaker if the children are not going to school, and if they are, you need somebody to be available to either drop them to school or pick them up. So those are the factors that you need to consider before deciding which shift will I be comfortable with, which shift will I be able to do, and at the same time uh, be able to continue with my life with no problems. You understand? So it's possible that you would like to do nights, but because of your situation, nights may not work for you because of the school situation. So those are the things you need to consider. So from the word go, have that in mind. The second one, of course, you would like to know. It may not change a lot, but you would like to know what is the nurse patient ratio. It's good to know so that you are prepared depending with what unit you are working in. There's no problem of us, finding out in that hospital, hey, you know, how many patients does a nurse get in that particular unit, so that you are able to understand the workload so that you are able to get prepared for it. So you realize that most of these things, they may not change. I mean, asking doesn't make them change, but at least you have an idea what's going on so that you can be ready for it. Number 3, this is really important. You need to find out about the contract. By contract, I mean, know the details. How long is it gonna take? Okay, is it 3 years? Is it 2 years? And beyond that, you need to know, is the contract based on hours or time period? Because there are some agencies which will take you and tell you you'll be working for us for 2 years. So irrespective of how many overtime hours you pick, it doesn't matter for them. It has to be 2 years. And then there's some agencies will say you'll be working for us for about 6,000 and something hours, like with Avant, like 6,200 and something hours, you know, or 5,000, depending on at what point did you join them. If you join them after doing NCLEX, you're likely gonna do 1,000 hours less as compared to somebody who joined before doing NCLEX. So those are the things you need to know. And you need to find out if the overtime that you're gonna pick, or you'll be able to pick once you start working, you need to find out if they are counted towards the contract. Because I came to realize there are some hospitals or some agencies which do not consider overtime as counting towards your contract. So those are the things you need to find out. And if you have 2 contracts, if you have like maybe an agency, like the other guy I was talking to, he had gotten 2 contracts, one from a hospital, you know, and another from an agency. So he was trying to compare. So we were trying to find out as much information as we could get for him to get, you know, for him to decide exactly what fits him best. And so it is really important to know if hours are counted towards your contract, because at the end of the day, you want to be as independent as soonest as possible. That's what I would say. At the end of the day, you want to finish your contract so that you're independent and you can, you know, decide to move wherever you want to move to. Okay, so the contract, you need to understand those particular details. And then another thing that I wanted to mention under the contract, let me see here. Yeah, we've talked about the overtime, if it's, you know, adding up to reducing the contract. Is the contract, oh, one thing I just remembered. You need to find out if, for example, for some reason you want to break the contract, what happens? Is the contract attached to your green card? You know, are they gonna take you to court because you broke the contract? You need to find out. You need to find out if you break the contract, how much are you gonna have to pay them? You know, it's good to find out. It's good to have this information, you know, so there's no problem of asking questions and finding out, hey, if for one reason or another I'm not able to complete the contract with you guys, is there like a plan? Is there like amount I need to pay? Do you charge like per hour, or what happens? It's good to have this information, you know. And also something else that you need to find out is if for one reason or the other, I've seen this happening, you are not able to cope that hospital for one reason or the other. It's rare, but it happens. What happens? because I know of agencies, it's easy for agencies because they'll move you from that hospital to another hospital, sorry, where they have a contract with them. But what if it's a hospital? Is there a plan? You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Another point that you need to find out, of course, this could be, standard. How are they helping you to settle? Once you come to this new land, you need help to get a bank account. You need help to get a car. You also need help with your housing, especially for the first few weeks, So you need to find out what that agency, that hospital, direct hire, is doing as far as those three, among other aspects that you need support in. Do they have support? Are they going to support you as an individual? Are they going to support you with your family, for example? Are they going to provide transport for you to move you, from overseas to the US? Only you or with your family, for example? You need to find out. It's good to have all this information. Then you are able to know where you are headed to. And then another point that is very, I don't know, we are number what? I'm not sure by now because I've been going up and down. Another point is you need to find out how long is the orientation. Doesn't matter if you've been a nurse for 20 years. Once you come to a new country, you need to be oriented, So you need to find out what is the orientation policy. Is it tied to a certain period of time, or is it depending on how comfortable you are or how they have seen you cope the first few days? So ask about that because it's really, really important. And then another aspect that you need to find out is paid time off policy. This is really important because you'll come to notice that there are days you want to be paid, there are days you'll be off. No, there are days that you can't make to work, or the days you like to take a vacation, and you need to know how they reward you for these days. Is it depending on how many hours you've done accumulatively, or how do they go around about this paid time off? And then coming to this last point, I kept it last for a reason. I know you want to know about money. That is, that's what's in your head. What's going on with this guy? When are we going to talk about money? Yes, that's the whole point. For most part, for you coming over here. So talking about money, of course you'd like to know how much they're gonna pay you per hour, but it doesn't stop there. You also need to know if there are any differentials. For example, when you're doing days, weekends, or nights, are there any differentials, and how do they reward those differentials? Another very big point that I've come to learn the hard way: find out if you will be included in case the hospital is offering bonuses. For some reason, the agency that I am with, when the hospital is calling in people to come help out, they're offering bonuses. We don't get the bonuses. So if it's something that I knew, I would have asked, and maybe negotiated that, in this contract, I also want to be included whenever the hospital is giving bonuses, so they are short-staffed, they're asking for help, they're saying, call staff members, if you come in, we shall be giving you maybe $10 more an hour for coming in, but when you as an agency nurse, when you show up, nothing is being offered because It is not the hospital that pays you, it's the agency. And the agency does not pay you for those. I mean, does not include you in those bonuses because that's a hospital thing. So that's very important that you need to understand and find out and see how you can negotiate around it. And of course, things to do with benefits like 401k, it's important to find out if they are offering that, if they are matching, stuff like that. So I hope this video is able to give you some more information as far as making a decision concerning if you want to come over as a direct employee, or if you want to get an agency to get you here, because it varies from person to person. For example, for me, I couldn't get an agency. I didn't know how, but now I'm getting many nurses, who are self-sponsoring themselves to a point after doing NCLEX. Now they need maybe a hospital that is willing to move them across the board or across overseas to work here in the USA. All right, until next time, I hope you have a wonderful moments, and see you in our next video.